This is 5 on your side at 5. Focused on you.
We start with developing news tonight out of Nashville, Tennessee, and it's devastating. 6 people were killed, including 3 children, after a shooting at a private Christian elementary school. Good evening. I'm Mike Bush.
I'm Kelly Jackson. Police say the shooter was a 28-year-old woman identified as Audrey Hale. She was killed by police. The shooting happened this morning at the Covenant School. Police say Hale was armed with 2 assault-type rifles and a pistol. She shot through a door to enter the building. They believe she was a former student and had drawn maps of the school. 3 9-year-old students died, and within the last hour, they were identified as Evelyn Deckhouse, Haley Scruggs, and William Kinney. 3 adults in their 60s died: Cynthia Peak, Catherine Kuntz, and Mike Hill.
I don't know how somebody could go through with doing something like that, and especially children. It's disgusting. And I have no words. I'm just trying to process it all. It's so terrible, so sad.
And the shooting comes about a week after another school shooting in Denver. Just hours ago, President Biden called on Congress to pass gun legislation.
We have to do more to stop gun violence. It's ripping our communities apart, ripping the soul of this nation, ripping at the very soul of the nation. And we have to do more to protect our schools so they aren't turned into prisons.
We're still waiting to learn more about the shooter and her motive. Tonight on NBC Nightly News, one expert explains how rare it is to have a female shooter connected to a mass shooting like this one.
This is a female shooter, and the latest studies, including a study out just last month, tell us that in the last 40 years of mass shooting defined as 4 or more victims deceased, there have only been 3 female shooters. So something like 135 shootings studied that qualify as mass shootings, only 3 involving a female shooter, and now, sadly, we can add a 4th.
That will be right after our newscast on NBC Nightly News, and we will continue to cover this story on air and online at ksdk.com as we learn more.
Just hours ago, the city of St. Louis filed a federal lawsuit against Hyundai and Kia.
Some makes and models of those cars have been stolen at skyrocketing rates across the country and here in St. Louis. Our Christine Byers has been covering this issue for almost a year now and is here with today's developments. Christine.
Mike and Kelly, Hyundai and Kia blew past the 30-day deadline Mayor Tashara Jones gave them back in August to recall the makes and models that are easier to steal. She says the automakers need to pay for the damage their vehicles have caused, so she's taking them to court.
Today, the city of St. Louis is taking action against corporations that are putting profits over people.
The St. Louis region is hardly alone in its struggle to cope with out-of-control thefts of some makes and models of Hyundais and Kias. City officials in Milwaukee, Seattle, San Diego, and Columbus have all filed suits against the automakers in recent weeks. St. Louis Mayor Tashara Jones says on average, 23 Hyundais and Kias have been disappearing from the city streets every day since last summer.
Simply put, by refusing to follow industry standards, making their cars so easy that a child could do it, Kia and Hyundai created a public safety hazard in cities across the country and put a target on the backs of their customers.
At issue is whether Hyundai and Kia can be found liable for not including anti-theft technology known as engine immobilizers on their cars. The automakers say their products meet all federal motor vehicle safety standards, and those standards do not include that type of technology. Kia sent a statement Monday which read, in part, lawsuits against Kia by municipalities are without merit. Kia has been and continues to be willing to work cooperatively with law enforcement agencies in St. Louis to combat car theft and the role social media has played in encouraging it. St. Louis Police Chief Robert Tracy joined Jones for the announcement at City Hall.
From a law enforcement perspective, Kia and Hyundai's negligence with their products have created a public safety hazard for the St. Louis Metropolitan Police Department, and we're working every single day to address.
Now, the city's lawsuit also notes how all Hyundais and Kias in Europe and Canada have the anti-theft technology because those countries require it. Hyundai's response didn't comment on the lawsuit itself. To read a full copy of that lawsuit and both automakers' full responses, check out my story on ksdk.com.
Thank you, Christine. Now the weather first forecast. The week is off to a cool start after a beautiful weekend.
So let's check in with meteorologist Gary Frank. Gary?
Yeah, a good start to the morning. It was cool, but the afternoon didn't warm up all that much. We had 70s yesterday, but obviously that wasn't the case today, as we have a couple of more cool mornings to start our week, even though the sun's out, and that's what's felt pretty good. We will see more cloud cover, and you've seen that more on the Metro East side, specifically Illinois side, and Central Illinois. It's finally moving out of here. We will see a little bit more cloud cover settle in, but we've gotten into the mid-60s, and keep in mind our average is about 60 this time of the year, and we've kind of nudged up close to that in St. Charles with 57. But we will look off to the west. That's where some cooler areas yet again. So it's going to be with us for the first part of the week. So that's kind of what we have to deal with. So tonight we will see our next disturbance, which may bring us a few showers very, very lightly. But if you're thinking about getting a car wash, I'll tell you some time to hold off until then, because we will feel more like spring, as we felt like that yesterday. We slowly warm up, but that also brings our severe weather chances back up as we finish off the month of March, begin the month of April with severe weather chances. We'll also sandwich in your opening day forecast and talk about how warm it gets for that as well.
All right, Gary, thanks. Tonight, the Major Case Squad is investigating a shooting that left a 14-year-old boy dead. It happened last night on Larry Lane in Berkeley. Police got a call from multiple kids who were carrying guns and firing shots. When officers got to the scene, they found the teen shot in a front yard. Today, we heard from neighbors who say they're sick of the violence. One woman tells us she may move out after living there 47 years.
Every night we hear gunshot, we hear loud music going, we hear dog barking all night, car doors slamming. So I think it's time for me to move out.
Information on this homicide can call Crime Stoppers. It's an anonymous tip line. That number is 866-371-TIPS. Well, Ferguson has a new police chief. Troy Doyle swore the oath of office at City Hall this afternoon.
Doyle takes over a police force that has seen several chiefs come and go. And he said he'll continue working to bring the department into compliance with the federal consent decree.
Our political editor, Mark Maxwell, spoke with the new chief just moments ago, and he is live in Ferguson. Mark.
Mike and Kelly, good evening. It's deja vu in Ferguson. There's a new police chief again. Troy Doyle takes the big badge and sets his sights on that long path toward reaching all the goals and promises laid out in that federal consent decree to remove racial profiling from policing, among a number of other ambitions in that document. Doyle inherits a tough job under a national microscope. He pledged to work together hand in hand with the Department of Justice and said he's committed to the grueling post that sent 7 predecessors for the exits over a 9-year span. Doyle says he plans to use special software to monitor data and identify crime trends or patterns to deploy officers to crime hot zones throughout the city. He also pledged to crack down on speeding and dangerous driving, improve community engagement, and he gave this promise to the sworn officers in the Ferguson Police Department.
As your police chief, I'm deeply committed to upholding the accountability and treating the public with respect. I want to assure you that you will have my unwavering support and trust as long as you're doing the right thing.
A nod to accountability there. Doyle also faces a hurdle perhaps even higher than that federal consent decree, and that is to earn the trust of a skeptical public. One woman in that room today says she's seen chiefs come and go, and that it would take him earning her trust. That wouldn't come easy. One ally he'll have in that endeavor is the prosecutor in St. Louis County, Wesley Bell, who said he was an ideal fit for this job in a city synonymous with that conversation ongoing about the role of policing in America. Live in Ferguson, Mark Maxwell, 5 on your side.